Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. It's September 20th, 2016, and I'm very happy to have a cool guest coming up for you. Martina from Prague is going to talk to us about liberty in the Eastern European region, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. But in the meantime, I would like to welcome my dear host, co-host, Josh Scigala. Josh, how are you?
Fantastic. We're getting a lot of buzzing from you there, Tatiana, sadly.
Whoa.
Good. Yeah, there's a lot of static. I don't know what's going on.
Hey guys, I got a lot of static on the line as well.
Yeah.
We didn't have this until 2 seconds ago. Yeah, no, yeah. It's universal. Sorry for this, guys. We're on a live broadcast. I don't mean to torture you with our internal musings. Is it me or what? Is it gone now? What happened?
Can you go up to your settings and just change your mic input? Make sure you're on the right one.
Yeah, no, my mic inputs are fine. That's not the problem. It's almost, I think it's my internet.
No.
Well, anyway, can you hear me now? Is it buzzing or is it fine?
No, it's like extreme. It's like fine.
I can't hear you at all. This sucks. Wow. All right. I'm gonna switch my Wi-Fi things. This was just...
Anyway, so Tatiana will join us in a second. We're just let's see. I guess I've got some fantastic talking points here.
Okay. Yeah, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, but it's still scratchy. Maybe change your.
I don't know why that happened.
Change your microphone.
No, there's no changing it. It was working 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, but just try turning it off and back on.
I didn't do anything different. It's a USB thing, so it's not even something that could be. I don't know. How is it now? Still bad?
Yeah. It's not going anywhere. Okay, sorry, folks. This is the perils, I would say, of live broadcasting, but we'll get there. So we've got an exciting show today. We have an amazing guest in from Prague, a freedom fighter, some may say. A lot of people, all in the educational field. So trying to educate people on the aspects of freedom and what that means. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was some of our sponsors here on the show. The BitcoinCPA.com. Now, this guy is really, really good if you want to get to learn about your taxes and how taxes work with, and we all hate taxes, I know, I do, especially as a voluntarist, but so they are needed if you want to stay out of that cell with Bubba. You need to pay the ransom that they ask, and that the best way to do that is to get an expert in to do your taxes, especially if you're working a lot with Bitcoin, because it's quite difficult to tell the different laws and regulations based on pricing. You know, when you spend Bitcoin, you have to do the conversion and all that stuff. So check out the Bitcoin CPA. He's also got a fantastic book. He quoted me a little book, so it's a good section about.
Hey guys, how's my audio?
Well.
How's my audio?
Oh, you're back.
I have a different headset this time. Okay, good.
Much better.
So let's try this from the beginning, and then when we, we don't normally edit the show very much at all, if at all, but we'll just start it from the top. So, okay.
Well, yeah, I was telling people about the Bitcoin CPA.
Oh, you were? Oh, good. Well, let's start it from the beginning so we have a nice clean start, and then we'll go from there. If you guys can post the links into the group chat, that'd be great. So I could know what to review. But hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. It is September 20th, 2016, and I'm broadcasting to you live from New Jersey, the highlight of America. In case you've never been here, it's very lovely. Don't believe the hype. Joined today with my co-host Josh from Vaultoro.com, the Bitcoin Gold Exchange, also the man, somebody I love to spend time with. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. Really, that's a lovely thing to say.
Excellent.
Yeah, how's things in Jersey? Are you, all I get from this side of the world is Jersey Shore, and I refuse to watch it. So, is that anything to do with?
I refuse to tolerate people that believe that all of New Jersey is the Jersey Shore. Come on, guys, have a little bit of sense.
I'm just trolling you. I'm just kidding.
Please don't troll me about New Jersey. I am very proud of my heritage, although I'm more Polish than anything. You know, about being Polish, we're having our guest today. We're going to bring on in just a few minutes, Martina. And Martina comes from Prague. So I was actually there last year with Lynn Ulbricht for Parapolis, which is this really cool event that they have. They have this hacker center. Prague is a really fantastic city.
The Institute for Crypto Anarchy, it's just the best place ever. You can't pay anything in cash. You have to use Bitcoin. And there's a whole cafe. You can't spend any money like fiat money. You can only spend real money, bearer asset-based money, which is Bitcoin, which is fantastic. You go, they've got an ATM at the front in case you don't have any Bitcoin. You put it in, get your Bitcoin, and then pay for everything else in there. And they've got 3D printers. It's such a cool place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really fantastic space. I hope maybe I could make it next year. But this year there's a lot of events and different things coming up. So I wanted to make sure that people know about all the upcoming events that I think are cool because I'm going to be at them. But anyway, I know there's a lot of choices for different cryptocurrency conventions. So my touring schedule is, if you're in New York and you want to come to a really cheap cryptocurrency convention, it's like $10 for the cryptocurrency pub convention, which is October 8th, which is Saturday. And it's basically from noon onward until 6 o'clock or something, and all different speakers, but people will basically literally be drinking beer and talking about crypto. So it's like almost getting to the after party, but making that the actual party, which I think is really great. I'm going to do that really early at like 1 o'clock. I should be going on. And then right after that, I'm flying off to the Contra Krugman cruise, which is Bob Murphy and Tom Woods. They're hosting it. We're going for a week from Galveston, Texas. Yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to Honduras and 2 cities in Mexico. The beautiful Dr. Stephanie Murphy from Sex and Science Hour and Let's Talk Bitcoin, one of the podcasts also here on the LTB network. We broadcast over multiple networks. So Stephanie Murphy will be there. We'll probably do some cool podcasts while we're out on the ocean. And then when I get back, it'll be Austin, Texas. I have a gig in Austin. And then I'm talking with Zhao Tong right now about going to the Crypto Cannabis Convention in Denver, October 20th and 21st or whatever that weekend is. I don't know 100% if I'm going to go, but the guys worked out a place, so I'll probably maybe make a little sneak appearance. I'll be promoting the new album, so that'll be a good time. And then there is the world part of the tour where I'm going to be going down to the Latin American Bitcoin Conference. People should totally come to that. It's one of my absolute favorite conferences of the year. Argentina's wicked cheap. Yes, it's far. Yes, your ticket is going to be not that cheap either. Like a flight from New York is around $1,000 or something like that right now. But yeah, but you know what? I mean, some of these things you could write off as a business expense, and there's a really great cultural aspect to this. So a lot of people turn it into a vacation. And if you want a vacation anywhere, you know, I've been to a lot of different places in the world. Buenos Aires is one of my absolute favorite cities in the world. So awesome and so cheap there. So I don't know. Then I'm coming to Europe, and hopefully I'll run into Martina there. But there's the Amsterdam Steam Fest, which just got announced in November 11th weekend. So hopefully Josh will be joining me there. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a special episode of the Tatiana Show where we're talking with Ned Scott and Dan Larimer. We've also got Brian Sovereign to sort of ask some of the harder questions. Ryan Singer from Blockchain Health is going to be joining us. So I think it's going to be a really interesting debate. I know Steemit is a little controversial, but what won't be controversial is the awesome killer party in Amsterdam. So Josh is going to join me there. And and then I'm booking dates in London, Berlin, and Warsaw as well. So there's a lot of action going on. Hopefully I can run into some people in Europe or one of these wonderful events. So we're going to bring on our next guest, but before we do, really quick, I wanted to thank our sponsors, the Bitcoin CPA. If you need tax assistance, Kirk will help you. He will make your life easier. He has taken me from a puddle of tears into a smiling joyful person that's getting a refund, I think, hopefully, fingers crossed. And also Crypto Compare is a very kind sponsor. And of course, go to freeros.org, big supporter. And that's the news of the stuff. But now we're going to bring on Martina. Do you have anything to tell us before we bring her on?
No, let's just bring her on.
All right, Martina, bring it on. Woo!
Bring it
on. Martina Bacikova, I tried my best. But can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and welcome to the show today.
Hey, thank you, Tatiana, for welcoming. Actually, I'm a little bit nervous, and I'm so glad to be there. And about myself, I'm Martina Bacikova. I'm from Prague, where is the parallel polis, the Institute of Crypto Anarchy is. So it's a very nice place to be. I'm part of the Students for Liberty movement, and also I'm founding a new institute for economic education here in Prague. Actually, today it was a kind of messy stuff with government, because I was like needed to found this institute, but there are very much stuff to do, stuff to communicate to government if you want to found that institute. So now I'm done, and I'm so happy about that.
That's excellent. How did you get into all this stuff? What kind of inspired you? Because you're obviously involved in a lot of liberty stuff, and that kind of goes hand in hand with Bitcoin. But what made you interested in this?
Actually, I think the first point when I started to be interested in liberty was when I started to be interested in economics. So I got to liberty through economics principles. And the first book I read when I was at high school was from the Czech professor Robert Holman. And it's a very similar book, for example, from Mr. Mankiv, the classical book which teach people about economic principles. So that was how I got to, the first point, how I got to the libertarian economic thoughts. But after that, I was like very interested. I read many books, many articles, but I was cool, wondering about economic ideas, and I had actually no one to talk about it, because of everything else. And I was like into economics, I was into ideas of liberty and stuff like that. So it was kind of like these 2 years when I was alone at high schools, without any community, without any friends to talk about economics. It was like a very difficult period of my life from that point of view. So after that, I joined Students for Liberty after I was at Czech Mises Institute summer school, and that's my life in the community started. And now, once I joined Students for Liberty, I'm finding my own institute for economic education.
Excellent. So, do you think that have you been to the European version? Because there's the ISFLC event in February. I've actually gone several years in a row now. And performed as well. So have you been to the European one? How long have you been involved with Students for Liberty?
I'm involved with Students for Liberty for 2 years. Actually, I was a president for Czech Students for Liberty, but I needed to resign because of my new institute. And I was, of course, I was at European Students for Liberty conference. First time it was in Berlin, and for the second time it was in Prague, in my city. So of course I was there. I helped with organizing. This year I also visited the International Students for Liberty in Washington DC, in your state. So yeah, that's it.
Cool. Josh, do you have any questions? I feel like you want to jump in. I think you're on mute though.
Sorry, mute. Yeah, I'm surprised that you found liberty through economics and not economics through liberty, because a lot of people, they love freedom, they love the concept because that's an easy concept to grasp, of being free. But a lot of people don't really understand economic theory, and so of different forms, because economic theory is a wide string. It's almost an art form and not a science, because there's so many different theories, and yeah, I know exactly what you mean of feeling a little bit alone with people to talk to. And that's the wonderful thing about the internet, is being able to connect to people that are interested in certain aspects. Especially, some people would find reading a book on economic theory so boring that they need to, put some toothpicks to open their keep their eyes open. But some people like ourselves will read it really excited and think, wow, that's amazing. It all makes sense. And you sort of start tying together concepts.
Yeah, that was me.
Right. And so it's really nice to hear that first you started down the road of economics, because economics has so much to do with everything in life. And most people don't understand that, and that's, I feel, it has a lot to do because of the schooling system. The schooling system generally doesn't go very much into economics at all.
Yeah, that's exactly my opinion. I mean, that's actually the reason when I'm founding this institute, because we are focused on high school students, because I think that the schooling system is very bad, and especially from the point of view of teaching economics. It's like, I'm not sure about the situation in the US. In Prague, there was a guy from the US, and he was all involved with the institute, which teach people how to teach economics, teach teachers how to teach economics. And so I think it's needed too. But in the Czech Republic, its situation is very bad, as you described. And the problem is that economic knowledge it's not about like people to know how to decide in their lives whether to take a mortgage or not, which economic crisis and financial crisis happens, or why not. It's also about, because these people, they vote for politicians, and this economic influence on politicians is huge. And if people don't understand about the topic, there are now discussion about raising a minimum wage, and that's the topic which is no economist would agree to raise minimum wage, because economics see something like the broken window from Bastiat,
Right.
where when you raise minimum wage, you just like, it's bad for almost everyone. It's not only bad for employers. It's bad also from the lower income employees, which could be fired because their productivity of work is not as high as employer could pay to them. So that's the problem we want to solve by the institute.
Yeah, I find also. Yeah, sorry, Tatiana had something to say.
No, go ahead. I have some comments, but go ahead, Josh.
A lot of people want to raise minimum wage because they feel that, well, of course, we need to be paid. We need to be able to eat. If you do a fair day's work, you need to be able to go home and feed your kids. But a lot of, I think, this is typical of people that haven't really studied economics. They look at what's easy to poke at. I'm not getting paid enough. That's the answer, is pay me more. But they rarely look at, well, how's money created? Why is everything becoming more expensive? Where's the inflation coming from? What does that mean for us all? And when I get paid more, doesn't that mean that everything goes up in price to deal with the new money that I'm having to get paid? And so then it's just this constant race of everything going up in price as well. So it backs up this concept of not hyperinflation, but inflation. It keeps adding to that pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I can know a story about, because I talked to my grandmother about this, like, inflation and stuff. Almost not possible to explain, because she tells me, hey, Martina, it's horrible. Everything is by far more expensive than when I was young. You could buy beer for 2 Czech crowns, which is like 0 point something, zero maybe dollar, for 2 Czech crowns, and now you buy beer for 40 Czech crowns. And everything is by far more expensive. I really like communism because everything was cheaper. And this is the opinion of people. So that's a real bad thing, and we need to work on that. I think it's the main fault is the schooling system, and that economics, it's not perceived by people as an interesting subject to learn. So maybe these two reasons are why people don't understand these stuff at all, don't understand inflation, minimum wage, and many other stuff.
You know, when I was in music school, I took a international music business class, and it was, you know, sort of supposed to be a regular class. And they had us read The Economist. And I was thinking, oh my God, please don't make me read it. And I was so into it because I felt like it really gave you an insight into human behavior. It gave you a way to analyze how people would behave. If you truly want to have an improvement in the way that society is organized, a study of economics is essential. And I was really surprised to find myself as interested. I want to ask you some questions about the institute that you're putting together. So this is for high school students. How do they find out about this? What's the program like? Are they paying to attend? What makes them interested in it? Because if they're not getting that education in the school, why are they coming on board?
That's a very good question. Actually, we have a strategy to that and programs. The first thing and the main thing about in economics for high schools, and this is a high school competition in economics. It's a whole nation competition in the Czech Republic, maybe in the future also in abroad, because we negotiate with Slovakia, for example. This competition will be something which is very media friendly, because Czech media are interested in financial education, economic education, in mostly. So that's one thing which we can use to choose the talented high school students to support them to be good economists. And your good question was how they even realize that there is something like that. So for that, we have something like lectures at high schools, and we already managed some stuffs about this. So the promotion of all the activities of the institute will be through these lectures by economists, by universities students, by professionals at high schools. So they have a lecture at the high school, and we are now connected with the people there, with teachers there, and they are more likely to give the test, vote Olympiad on economics to their students, for example. Other thing in the economics summer school, so that's the other, but it's far from now because it's almost a year from now. But the other thing which is very developed in the US and in the other countries are the economic educational videos. And in the Czech Republic, there are none of them in the very good quality. So we want to do that. We want to do professional economic educational video, marginal revolution on YouTube or something like this. So that's what we want to do in next months. But the vision is of the institute is it's far more to do.
I think that's really, really exciting. I've also had, my interest in economics was driven by finding out about the Federal Reserve. And that really led me to the path of liberty. Previously, I had really supported Dennis Kucinich. But then once I found out about the Federal Reserve, I went on Team Ron Paul and sort of went down that path. I also became good friends with Bob Murphy, who I think he was actually recently in Prague. Did you get to see him speak at all?
Yeah, he was here. Yeah, actually, yeah, I saw him speak. But he was also at the Mises University, and I saw him many times, I think, from when we first met.
Then you know that he's, to me, he's one of my favorite economists. I would say my favorite economist, but anyway, we did this Economics 101 video in the recording studio because, my goal is to influence musicians into liberty and just regular people. So I thought that having that good basic understanding of economics and kind of correcting those easy false impressions that people have, like the minimum wage is the easiest one to access, but universal health care, different kinds of things like that. I think it's really important for society to be motivated and to understand that. And it seems that there's been less of a push in schools for civics classes and economics. And I'm surprised to hear that that's going on in Poland, in Prague as well, because when I was younger, all the kids from Poland would come and I would know them, and they always had an excellent education. And in general, I find foreign students to have a much better education than Americans in a lot of ways. Do you think that the history of, you know, when I was in Poland also, there were a lot of responsive to liberty people. And I think that the influence of that was because, you know, they lived under communism for a long time. They've been pushed around. Do you think that that also has an effect on the people in your region?
Yeah, of course it has. It's like the education in communism. It's like, I think it's still very similar actually in the Czech Republic, because most schools, I'm talking now about like high schools and primary schools. Universities are very similar to that system, but they're kind of different. So I'm now talking about high schools and primary schools. They are mostly public. So that's the first problem, that there are not enough incentives to make it as good as possible. And the other thing is that there are some private private schools in the Czech Republic, but it's just like very difficult for them to compete with the public schools, which are for free. So private schools are mostly for students who can't manage the studies at public schools. So the private schools are mostly for students who can't manage the government school. And that's a problem because, sorry, George, do you have something to mention?
No, that's really interesting because it also pushes up the price, right? Because the demand isn't that high because you can't compete with free very easily. So less and less students come. So that means the prices go up because there's less students to pay for the teachers, and moves on. I actually I lived with a woman that was from Prague, from the Czech, and she was really, she had a funny relationship with her parents. She was really angry because her parents never taught her how to be entrepreneurial, because they didn't need to be. They were under a communist rule where you just got told, right, that's where you work and that's how you, here's your job. And they never knew, and eventually she realized that they're not to blame for not ever being able to teach her how to be entrepreneurial. But it really, a whole generation was affected after the fall of communism, because they had, a lot of people had to relearn. And you see this a lot in the Eastern German, so East Berlin and stuff, where you see these small businesses pop up who really have no idea about how to deal with customers and, and stuff. I mean, I don't mean to be generalistic, of course. There are amazing businesses as well, and business people who have a natural entrepreneurial spirit who just flourish. But
I think you're right, actually, about this.
Yeah, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, whatever difference I seen between American people and people from the Czech Republic or Eastern Europe, it's just people from the US are more like entrepreneurs by who they are, by how they talk. It's like the whole mindset is different, because they are more like they want to do everything by themselves. They are responsible for themselves. They are able to focus them on something, and they are not, they are willing to do mistakes, which is in Eastern Europe, to do a mistake, it's a real bad thing. And we are mostly like employees, or someone like, tell me what should I do, and I will do that. And that's a little bit sad thing, because I mean, I know very many entrepreneurs in Prague, and are my friends, but most people, I mean, the mindset of the society is that entrepreneurs, it's very risky to be entrepreneur, and like to do a mistake, and entrepreneurs like can do a mistake all the time. So people from the Czech Republic, they are not willing to dedicate themselves to some kind of risky business, and they are most happy to be employed in a safe employment and have their salary. So that's the difference I see actually between American and Eastern Europe people.
I think it opens up an opportunity for entrepreneurs to move to these countries because you have a great workforce. I mean, you have a bunch of people who are willing to work for you and do everything they're told. I mean, that's just
Jesus.
no,
I'm
but
not sure what to think of that. But I mean, it's sort of true. Sure.
It's kind of true, right? The same with China. Why can you start? You could go to China and you have an amazing workforce. And because it is painful to fall down. It's very painful to fall down as an entrepreneur, and you fall down many times, like you were saying, Martina. And so lifting yourself up again and again and again, and eventually some people just stay down, and it's really horrible. And there people would say, well, we need some sort of safety net, some sort of way to help people back up, because some people aren't strong enough to get up naturally, or they're incapable because they've got a disability. So what would you say about how to deal with that in a free society? How do we deal? What are the thought processes?
How to deal with people who are afraid to be free? Is that a question?
I guess so. Yeah, and not afraid to be free, but people that are falling down, that need help from other people. So in a communist state, there would be money coming in from the state. In a pseudo-capitalist state, which we have now, we have a safety net or social safety net that when you fall down, you get saved. If there is no state, how do we deal with that? And that's a question that I get all the time, and I've got my answers, but I'd love to hear your opinion.
I said it's a very difficult question because I need to admit that I don't know, but my opinion on that is just we need to, it takes time. For the first time, it takes time overcome these social patterns and similar stuffs. On the other hand, we can improve that by educating people what is possible by stories. It's like, I think it's kind of the centralized support of this entrepreneur's mindset, like to give a story of entrepreneur or who successed, to give a story of someone who achieved something which no one could imagine to happen. So these stories and also these kind of activities which supports people to do what they want to do but they are afraid. So it's very good to have for example, a supportive friend who, like, you talk about a crazy entrepreneurship idea or non-profit idea, and he or she tells you, yeah, you should go for it. That's a very strong thing.
So when can people start joining your school? Like when are students allowed to start signing up?
The first students to do a competition.
Okay, so and the competition is running when?
It's running since December, so we have still a few months of time to manage to manage as many students as possible there. So in December we are starting, and now we are processing stuff. We also have questions prepared, so that's a good thing, and we just wait for promotions at schools. We wait for example, sponsors, because it's not for free, So there are stuffs we need to, which takes time, but since December we are running, and I'm very I hope that there will be as many students as possible, because we do this just for them.
Is there a chance for foreign exchange students to exchange, maybe someone from Prague go to the States or from any other country and come, or can anyone from around the world
come to Prague
and study with you guys?
Yeah, it's possible. We have plenty of universities there, and I mean, for many people, it's pretty cheap there. So if you want to study good school and you don't want to spend as much money for that, I would recommend you to go to Prague, because it's a nice city. Our schools are good, and you don't. It's like it will be super cheap for you, probably, if you are from the US or from Western Europe, because Prague is a nice city, but you can buy their beer for 1 something dollar and stuff like that. So it's
Yes,
worth it.
it was quite lovely and inexpensive when I was there. So do you have any final words? We're coming up on the break of the show, or rather the end of the show, because we're doing a slightly shorter show today. But I wanted to give you a chance to talk about anything else that's on your mind. Is there anything that you want to kind of promote and encourage people to do? Obviously, we want people to go to Parallelopolis, which is the weirdest spelling on earth, but we'll leave that in the show notes. We broadcast on several different networks. We're on IPM Nation, we're on LRN.FM, we're on Let's Talk Bitcoin, and we're on Liberty.me. And Let's Talk Bitcoin crowd, they have a magic word or a magic phrase. Maybe you want to set one up for us for this week?
I would love that. I don't do that. I would love to encourage people to don't be afraid to be more free and to go to arguments through economics, because liberty is mostly the feeling, and you can argue about private property, about my right to have my own life. But if you do economics, you have pretty good arguments on government to not to do something or to do something. So thrive, be free, and develop economics.
Okay, so wait, you cut out for that one. What's the phrase? It's got to be like 2 or 3 words. Be free, learn economics. Yeah, I like that one. Let's do that one. Be free, learn economics. Okay, good. So that'll be our magic phrase, and the links to visit you and find out more about you will be in the show notes. But what website can people find you at?
You can find me. Maybe we are doing a website right now for the institute. We already have Olympiad and Economics website in Czech. So I would probably recommend you to find me at esfl.org, which is European Students for Liberty website, where I have my profile, and you can write me email or contact me if there is something.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that if you're ever in New York, you're always welcome to come and stay with me. I'm here, and you now have a friend in Berlin. And if I come to Prague, I'm calling you, and we're going to go out and talk economics and have
do that,
some good Prague beer.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on. Thanks everybody for joining the show today. We're going to do our special Steemit episode tomorrow. We've got some other shows coming up. Please support me at TatianaMoroz.com or CryptoMediaHub.com. Support Josh at Voltoro.com. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, Crypto Media Hub, well, that's me, the BitcoinCPA.com, LaBitConf, which is the Bitcoin conference in Buenos Aires, and go to freeross.org to support my favorite cause that hopefully will not be forever, because Ross has got his appeal coming up. Josh,
that's exciting.
Do you have any final words? Yeah, the appeal, they're having their oral arguments October 6th. So that should be pretty intense, and the family needs as much support and attention as possible.
Yeah, really. I'd love to hear more about that, and I think we should have a show. Maybe we can get someone on, or you can explain more about it, because you're keeping
well,
up
I'm gonna actually be seeing Lynn for the Students for Sensible Drug Policy Northeastern Convention in Boston in a couple weeks. So she and I will probably do a show and talk about everything that's going on, because there's a lot of developments. Reason.com has some great articles. Bitcoin.com has done some really good write-ups. So if people want to learn more, they can go to those places or go to freeross.org. And yeah,
and we have another sponsor, Crypto Compare.
Oh my gosh, how did I forget them? They're so cool.
Yeah,
those are our new London buddies. I like those guys.
Yeah, they're if you go onto Crypto Compare, you can see all the different cryptocurrencies and see the prices and see the price movement of each pair. So it's a great site to be able to see everything at one glance. But if you want to trade Bitcoin and gold and stay out of filthy fiat, of course, there's Voltoro.com. Our firm here, we work very hard to let people escape fiat and the volatility of Bitcoin by jumping in and out of Bitcoin and into allocated physical gold, which is fantastic.
All right, excellent. So, Josh, am I going to see you at Steemit Fest, whatever the heck it's called, in November? We're going to party in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I really love Amsterdam, and I'd like to find out more about Steemit. I'm still on the fence. I love that there's a platform to people to publish their info and a new way of thinking about how to pay these content providers. So I'm excited about that, but I have to see more of the economic theory. I'm a bit unsure about, but yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show, folks. So if you want to join us, keep an eye out on @Voltoro on Twitter, or what's your
Queen Tatiana.
Yeah,
It's all over the internet. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.